Ray Mitchell had $840,000, free and clear, sitting in a checking account in Zanesville, Ohio. 3 years later, on a freezing night in January, he was parked in a lot at 2 in the morning in the same blue pickup he'd once paid off in cash, counting the change out of his cup holder under the dome light, trying to scrape together enough for a quarter tank of gas. His breath was fogging up the windshield. The heater had stopped working in November, and he hadn't been able to fix it. He didn't gamble it away. Nobody robbed him. No scam, no addiction, no single disaster you could point to. Ray lost all of it doing things you would call responsible, things you would have done, things you are very likely doing right now. And that's what should scare you, because by the end of this, you're going to watch the exact same thing happening in your own life, just slower and quieter, and without 800 grand sitting on top of it to make it obvious. So let me take you back to the best morning of Ray's life, the morning he was holding every dollar of it, and show you the exact second it all started slipping through his fingers, while he was still smiling. It's a Tuesday in late February. Gray sky, slush on the roads, the kind of Ohio cold that gets into your hands. Ray is 34 years old. He drives a delivery route for a parts supplier. He's got about $900 to his name, and the front end of his truck has been making a grinding sound he's been praying about for a year. He pulls into a gas station off Route 40, the bell on the door jingling, the whole place smelling like burnt coffee and gasoline. He buys a large coffee, and on his way out, almost an afterthought, he slides 4 crumpled dollars across the counter for a scratch-off. He sits in the truck and scratches it with his house key, and the world goes silent. $840,000, after taxes, to a man who, that very morning, had done the math in his head over whether to fix the truck or pay his phone bill. He doesn't scream. Everybody thinks you scream. Ray opens the truck door, lowers himself onto the freezing curb outside the store, and just sits there in the cold, holding the ticket in both hands until they finally stop shaking. And at first, you have to hear this part, Ray does everything right. He pays off the truck. He kills 2 credit cards. He erases the $11,000 of debt that's been sitting on his chest since he was 20. And what he feels isn't excitement. It's air. For the first time in his adult life, Ray can breathe. If the story stopped here, Ray wins. He's set. He's free. But money never sits still, and neither do the people who find out you have it. The first call comes 3 days after the money clears. It's his older brother, Danny. "Ray, hey, I hate even asking you this. Rent's behind, 2 kids, a bad couple of months, and Ray doesn't even let him finish. Don't even worry about it," he says. "How much?" Because he still remembers being 19 and broke, and Danny covering his rent without ever once bringing it up again. So he says yes. Of course he says yes. It's a good thing to do. It is a good thing to do. Then his cousin calls. There's a business, can't miss, ground floor, just needs a little to get going. Then a buddy from high school with medical bills. Then a guy Ray barely remembers with a story. And every single one of them is reasonable. Every yes is the kind a good man gives. That's the trap. Ray was a good man. And nobody ever warns you that being a good man with money, surrounded by people who have none, is a hole with no bottom. Because no stops feeling like a decision and starts feeling like a betrayal. Not one of those yeses felt like the one that would ruin him. That's how it always works. It's never one disaster. It's 100 reasonable choices, each one too small to feel. Then Ray does the thing almost everybody does the second the weight comes off. He reaches up. The apartment becomes a 4-bedroom house out by the lake. An investment, he tells himself, and he half believes it. The old pickup becomes a new one. Then there are 2 in the driveway. There's a watch, there are trips to places he'd only ever seen on TV. And there are the dinners, the steakhouse dinners where Ray snatches the check off the table before anyone else can even reach for it. Because for the first time in his whole life, he can. And being the guy who pays, the guy everybody's glad walked in, feels like the thing he's been waiting 34 years to finally become. And for about a year, it is everything. Ray pulls into that driveway and the house still hits him in the chest. The phone never stops. People love him. He has, finally, completely made it. What Ray didn't know yet was that he'd already started losing. Because underneath all of it, something was moving, and Ray couldn't feel it. Nobody can. The house that stopped his heart in month 1 was just home by month 6. The new truck became the truck. The steakhouse became a Tuesday. His brain did the one quiet thing every human brain does. It took the extraordinary and it filed it under normal. So Ray reached higher, a better trip to feel what the first trip felt like, a nicer thing to chase the spark the last one used to give him. He wasn't buying happiness anymore. He was chasing a feeling that kept stepping backward, one purchase at a time. And the number in that account, the one he was now very careful never to actually open and look at, kept falling. 840 became 600, 600 became 4, and Ray kept the same exact pace because slowing down would have meant admitting something he wasn't ready to admit. The first night it really hit him, Ray was sitting in his truck in his own driveway at 1 in the morning, finally opening the banking app he'd been avoiding for months. The screen lit up his face in the dark. $41,000. That was it. That was what was left of a fortune. His hands went cold. Because the investment house had a mortgage he'd taken on like the money would last forever. The cousins' can't-miss business had missed. The friends who'd appeared with the money always seemed to have business that needed a little more of it. And here's the cruelest part. He couldn't stop. Because the life wasn't a choice anymore, it was a structure. The house demanded its payment. The image demanded feeding. The people expected the Ray they'd met. Slowing down didn't feel responsible. It felt like dying in public. So he didn't slow down. And then it went the way it always goes. Slowly, then all at once. The lake house went first, then the trucks, then the friends, quiet, one by one, the way people leave when the music stops. Danny stopped calling. The cousin's number changed. And one freezing January night, 3 years after the best day of his life, Ray Mitchell sat in a parking lot at 2 in the morning, counting coins under a dome light. The same man, the same hands, praying over $4 again. Because hope was the only thing he had left that was still free. Now, here's what I promised you. Here's why this should keep you up tonight. Because it is so easy to watch this and think, not me, I'd have invested it. I'd have been smart. I'd have said no. You wouldn't have. And I can show you why. You're running Ray's exact wiring right now, today, on a smaller budget. Every time the money hits and you reach for the thing instead of the plan. Every time I deserve it or I can afford it makes the call before you do. Every time a raise shows up and your life quietly grows to swallow it whole. And 6 months later you're earning more and somehow keeping less. Ray didn't have a different brain than you. He just got handed $840,000, enough to drag the flaw out into the daylight where you could finally see it. You've got the same flaw. You've just got less money covering it up. And here's the thing nobody will ever put on a billboard. You do not rise to the level of your income. You sink to the level of your habits. Hand a careful man a fortune and he stays careful. Hand Ray's flaw a fortune and it devours the fortune. The money never decided anything. It just turned the volume all the way up on who he already was. Ray didn't lose a fortune. He lost the only thing the fortune was ever supposed to buy him, the power to decide where his own life went. And you can lose that exact same thing, the freedom to choose, without ever winning a single dollar. So it was never really about the money showing up. It's about who you are when it does. And that person, he's being built right now, tonight, with whatever is sitting in your account this very second. Build him carefully. Subscribe, because there are far more of these than you would ever believe. And the next one is worse.